$5 billion a day is a huge hit to the economy, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on both sides to resolve a deal. It's important to stand with the workers so that they get a fair share of the profits that they are creating.
I've got an update for you that does affect working folks in the South and really, frankly, all over the country. And that's this situation with the International Longshoremen's Association. Unavoidable. That's what Forbes is calling a strike of tens of thousands of longshore workers from Texas to Maine, including in Alabama, that is estimated to cost up to $5 billion, not over the course of the strike, not over the course of a month if a strike lasts a month, not even over the course of a week. If these workers strike, if the ILA strikes from Texas to Maine, the strike is estimated to cost up to $5 billion per day. According to analysts at the New York Times, every day that a strike lasts could take up to 6 days to clear. Now, I'm recording this on Tuesday, September 24th, to air on Saturday, September 28th. But so, therefore, it's possible I'm taking a risk doing this as a pre-tape, but it's newsworthy, and maybe it'll still be relevant by the time that you hear it on Saturday. Things could change between now and Saturday, but they are looking a certain way right now, and I'll give you kind of the long and short of where things stand. And so that is that the contract between the International Longshoremen's Association, which is a union that represents 45,000 workers on ports from Texas to Maine, including 6 of the 10 busiest ports in the United States, who handle 13 million containers annually. The contract between that union and the United States Maritime Alliance, USMX, is set to expire on October 1st, with no deal in sight at the moment. Retail associations and other business interests have sought to convince Biden to invoke the Taft-Hartley Act to break or prevent a strike by the ILA, ostensibly on national security grounds. Interestingly, given that Biden used the mechanisms of the Railway Labor Act to break a potential rail strike in 2022, the White House has been very firm about their disinterest in invoking Taft-Hartley. If the ILA strikes, it will be the first national longshore strike since 1977, according to Forbes. The issues are the same ones that you're used to. Wages have not kept up with inflation. Profits have gone through the roof. And executives have made out like bandits. And now they want to convince the public that the union workers who make the ports of the United States run are the greedy ones. To give you a little bit more fidelity on the issues at play, I want to read at length from a press release that we received from the International Longshoremen's Association. There are a lot of issues at play. Like I said, primarily wages are a big one. And wages not keeping up with inflation in the context of skyrocketing profits and extremely high executive pay. Right? So in this press release from the International Longshoremen's Association, ILA leaders are saying that, quote, their interpretation, the company's interpretation of, quote, leading wages is polar opposite to ours, because the USMX is saying that they are offering leading wages to the ILA. The ILA is disputing that. They say, quote, inflation has completely eaten into any raises and wages. Everything has become more expensive, even compared to 6 years ago. Our members are struggling to pay their mortgages, rent, car payments, groceries, utility bills, taxes, and in some cases, their children's education. USMX's corporate greed has made them delusional, profits over people. They've taken advantage of a low entry wage and a tiered progression system for 30 years. We outright outright reject their position on the new entry wage. The union leaders further charged that USMX was, quote, trying to fool you with promises of workforce protections for semi-automation. The ILA said, quote, we don't want any form of semi-automation or full automation. We want our jobs, the jobs we have historically done for over 132 years. The top ILA leaders described another important aspect of the master contract, container royalty. They reminded ILA members that container royalty was originally negotiated as a supplemental wage and that all container royalty money belonged to the ILA and its members. Our members should never have to share their container royalty money with the ocean carriers who are currently making record profits. Disregard any information coming from management. I love it when they talk like this. Disregard any information coming from management, the ILA wrote. These are the same people who circumvent your contract every day and drag their feet in the grievance and arbitration process. These are the same people who act like Big Brother, watching your every move and creating hostile work environments by putting cameras in your workstations and equipment. As frustrated as we are with our employers, it's almost comical that they believe our members would fall for this nonsense. We are rank and file first administration, and we are taking on this fight for you and your families. Stay strong, stay united, and we will prevail. So say ILA President Harold Daggett and ILA Executive Vice President Dennis Daggett. They have some more details on the industry-leading wages in this segment from the press release. They say USMX claims to offer industry-leading wages. However, their interpretation of leading wages is polar opposite to ours. Inflation has completely eaten into our raises, and everything has become more expensive. Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate. Our work is in a shape industry. We are at the beck and call of the ships, and no ships mean no work. The only guarantees our workers have are hourly, daily, or shift guarantees. Our rank and file members are not on salary. They work when the ships are docked at the berth, and only if their seniority affords them the opportunity. And that's why it's so important that the Longshore Union is able to secure actually high industry-leading wages. And it's just not true that the wages that the ILA has currently or that the carriers are offering are industry-leading. The ILWU on the West Coast has had higher wages than the ILA for a pretty significant amount of time, and the ILA is trying to get that back. They're negotiating over a 6-year contract is kind of what's on the table right now. And the carriers are saying that the union is asking for 75% over 6 years. The union is saying that it's less than that. They're not being, totally public about what exactly they're asking for, but they are saying it's less than 75%. But it's 75% over 6 years, right? I mean, that's not all that much, actually. It's like something like 10% per year. So it would still be a really good, but over 6 years, a 70% raise, 75% raise is really not, not as much as it sounds when you say 70% raise, right? Something else that they are fighting back against are automation. They're saying that USMX is trying to fool their members with promises of workforce protection for semi-automation. They're saying that automation is going to take jobs, and they want their jobs. They say that these companies have already shown their true colors. They order equipment like RMGs and CRMGs. I'm not sure what that stands for. It's some sort of automated, robot kind of thing, right? And then when we stand firm on our position, this is the union speaking again. They order this equipment, the companies do, and the union stands firm. And then the companies cry about having spent tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, expecting us to feel sorry for them and negotiate an inferior deal. Well, that's not going to happen. We don't care how much they spend. A labor agreement should be worked out before they order any equipment. And that's true, right? I mean, the idea that you as a company could buy this, fancy pants, automated kind of stuff, and then go to the table and be like, oh, well, we've already bought this stuff to automate away your jobs. So now you should agree. You have to agree to let us automate away your jobs because we've already bought the equipment to do it. Like, it just doesn't work that way, right? You can't expect the workers to accept that, and they're not accepting that. He said, we don't care how much they spend. A labor agreement should be worked out before they order any equipment. That's obvious. The days of the gentleman's agreements are over. We want ironclad language, and we want the intent of that language in writing. Bottom line, the ILA does not support any kind of automation, including semi-automation. These companies cannot be trusted. They continue to sneak in automated programs and eliminate our clerical functions behind our backs. They better get ready for the biggest fight they've ever seen. We are done with them unilaterally implementing work processes and having zero respect for our members and their work functions. They're also concerned about cameras in the workplaces, saying that, the monitoring and all of this is creating a hostile work environment under the guise of safety. It's not actually about safety, and they point particularly to women being observed constantly by management, and saying, there's kind of an implication of sexual harassment there. And then on the pensions, they say, we negotiated a national money purchase defined contribution plan in the current contract, and yes, the employers will be adding to that. But it's a constant battle to increase the defined benefit pension plan because our man-hour assessment is simply not enough money for us to manage our funds at the local level. Remember the first $5, Basically, we're trying to get them to increase the pension. And similar, similar discussions about health care. And they round out with a statement about their propaganda, the propaganda from the company. The union says this propaganda from USMX is exactly what we predicted weeks ago. It's also incredibly insulting that they think our members are not smart enough to see through their tactics. I don't believe they understand just how united this union is today. When the time comes, we will send out the most accurate and up-to-date information to our membership. In the meantime, disregard any information coming from management. These are the same people who circumvent your contract every day and drag their feet in the grievance and arbitration process. So don't trust them. As frustrated as we are with our employers, it's almost comical that they believe our members would fall for this nonsense. So that's where we are. Again, this would be an absolutely huge thing if this strike does happen on October 1st, about a week from today when I'm recording this. And so we're going to keep an eye on it, and obviously it's going to be a big topic of conversation when we come back the following week, if there is a strike and if it is continuing. Because like I said, $5 billion a day is a huge hit to the economy, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on both sides to resolve a deal. And so it's really important that people, not give in to the propaganda that's going to be coming out from the companies. It's important to stand with the workers so that they get a fair share of the profits that they are creating. So that's the latest on really probably what's going to be the biggest news in labor in the South by the time that this airs. So we'll see how much of this is still relevant. Hopefully a lot of it is still relevant by the time that you hear it.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.